Semi-final 2 does promise to be really interesting. It's the Kobo Elipsa 2e versus the Kindle Scribe. This is going to be like the battle of the best e-readers at this size. So this little comparison was part of a live stream where I played out a World Cup of Eink tablets. It's not the final verdict on how these two tablets compare, but really it's just a fun way to make a whole load of side-by-side comparisons and give you a bunch of demos of the standout features of these great devices. I hope you'll join me on a future live stream, and I'll look forward to answering your questions live. Thinking about getting a Kobo for some time, and it would be great to see it against the Scribe. Well, let's not waste any more time then, my man. So no one was expecting this to be in the semis. No one was expecting the Kobo to make it through its quarterfinal even, but it did. That's interesting. Just shows though what a strong field there is. There's no poor teams in this World Cup this year. Very, very good. We're back to 0-0. The Kindle also and the Kobo, as you see, they both wake up really, really quickly. The quickest of all the devices. What's the biggest on here? Is it the marker? Probably. Very different devices, but also very similar. They're both readers. And these are probably the two devices. If you were to tell me, right, I need a device which is going to be a good e-ink tablet. It's going to be a good, and I primarily want to read on my e-ink tablet, I would say look at either of these two. And if you're just looking, you're literally what you want a reader, but you also want occasionally be able to write on it, like just a quick notepad. And these are the two devices that I would be steering you to. I'm going to try and make them less bright, both of them, because then my camera should brighten up a little bit as well. It probably is the Kindle that does it. Yeah, that looks a little bit better than. Yeah, okay, so moving on. So because they're primarily readers, then it's really the libraries is probably the most important comparison to make. So let's go out to the libraries on both. Not just my library, but the kind of, the libraries you can buy from. And they're both absolutely massive, okay? The size is important. And I just presumed really that the Kindle was a bigger library, but no, they're all both about the same. And they're both always going to have any kind of big novel, any kind of big book that comes out. They're both going to have them. Really, they're not going to not put them on Kobo, unless they're doing a brief kind of Kindle exclusive, which some people do. But they both have over 3 million books, so there's no score there. There's no difference there. There is a slight difference between the formats they accept, and the Kobo can actually handle more formats of books. So including, it can handle DRM-free Epubs, which you can't do on the Kindle, and you can actually put books on here by USB. You can load them up in any way. You can load up PDFs onto here, but that's about your lot on Kindle, and the PDFs have a bit of an odd workaround on Kindle as well, which I wouldn't be recommending. But you only really have the books that are purchased through Amazon. Most people are going to actually stick to books they've purchased on the device anyway, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. I wouldn't suggest for a moment that the difference in formats is going to be a big difference either, so there's no score here either. Both support library lending, but there's kind of different things in different regions. Overdrive is the thing that you can have here on Kobo. So you can have a sort of library lending there if you're a member of your local library. And there is, I think, Libby allows you to send library books to your Kindle as well. So Libby is an app that you can use to do that. But some regions that'll be okay, and some regions it won't be okay. So there's no score there. I can't say definitively either the libraries are any better. Kobo Plus is the thing you need to use if you want to get sort of a subscription based and then get free ones. So Kobo Plus is very, very good. It's got lots of text as well. I think I read 1.5 million books to read and over 150 audiobooks, and all of that is at $11.99 per month. £11.99, it might be different, a dollar amount. But £11.99 a month, 1.5 million ebooks, and 150,000 audiobooks. And Amazon says they have more than 1 million in Kindle Unlimited, so not quite as many, but sort of roughly the same sort of value, and 200,000 books on Audible. But Audible works different because you can actually you get one book per month for your subscription for $7.99 for Audible. And you also have to pay for the Kindle Unlimited separately. So I would suggest maybe there's better value to be had on the Kobo Plus rather than the Kindle. And then to use Whisper Sync, which is a great feature on Kindle, but probably hardly used because you have to own both the Kindle book and the Audible recording as well. So that's cool, but actually you have to buy the book twice to use it, and most people won't do that. Although I have really enjoyed listening to and reading some free classics on Amazon over the summer, including lots of choice in kind of classic reads for my children, which has been great. This has been coming out at all of the time, the Beatrix Potter series there, because we've got all the books here, but when you're traveling, you don't want to take a stack of Beatrix Potter. And when your child is 3, he just wants to read Squirrel Nutkin over and over and over again. And it's great. And actually, you can have this on your phone as well, so it really is in your pocket or your smaller portable colour. We took the small portable colour e-readers like the Tab Mini C and the S6 we took with us, so we're able to bring that out and read to them with colour illustrations for them to look at on the go. So Kindle library wise is really, really good for that reason as well. And most of you, interestingly, told me that you prefer the Kindle library to the Kobo library, and it was about twice as many people said Kindle over Kobo. So I think it's probably still a tie here as well. I think there's probably no score here either just yet. So I think it's still 0-0. Now, one difference that will come up now is that people like the fact that you can actually write directly onto books on Kobo. And what actually happens, you'll see I have zoomed from this position. What actually happens, because the reason why you can't do that on every Kindle book, see there's no way to actually write on here, is because books on Kindle, they reflow. So if I change the zoom, then it changes the layout here. And if I happen to start from a different point, it can change where I'm up to. You can see what the Kobo does, the way they get around that is by, they actually, if you're annotating in a different view, a different font size or whatever, then they sort of save the view that was, because now is a different zoom or a different position, it's saved it down there. And I actually think that is a bit janky, to be quite honest. It's nice to be able to write on it, I suppose, but really you don't have much room to write on it anyway. I actually quite like the way the Kindle does it, where you can highlight a section and then just do a note, in which case you can do a handwritten note. Oh well, they've actually added lasso to this as well, which is cool. Finally, yeah, we asked for any tool here. That's nice that they've now added the same note taking tools here as well, which is a new thing, which I hadn't actually realized they'd done until just now. So, and that's actually quite good. And then it appears there with the highlight, and you just tap that and it comes up, and actually there's a bit more space to write a little bit more there. The nice thing is about this as well is you used to run out of room, but now I guess what you could do is select and resize, which is quite cool. And now you can buy yourself a little bit more room. So you could effectively write something and make it half the size and give yourself a bit more room there as well. So actually note taking, loads of people want it this way, and I don't mind. Why not give us both? Don't think you can, you see, you can't handwrite in here. So give us both, Kobo, you can do it. Give us both, Kindle. There's no reason not to. There are some write on Kindle books now as well, and that was a big feature in the last sort of launch, which is cool. It's nice to see. However, I find finding things really difficult in Kindle, full stop. So it has to be a particular write on Kindle book. So they've worked out a way to let you write on the Kindles, but there are only these ones that are actually set up to be a writable book. So it tends to be this kind of low content books like journals with like prompts, or puzzle books like these, so you can write on top of them. So maybe they'll bring it in the future. I don't know. I think that they just didn't add it because they kind of didn't want to. So do you know what? I am going to give that one to the Kobo, because lots of you tell me that you do want this. Writing on books is something that you do want. So just do it, Kindle. Like, this is one of those, treat people like adults. I know you think, okay, no, it's not going to be a good experience. We don't think you want that. But people want it, and they tell me that they want it, so just do it. Should I back off a little bit? Maybe that was a bit extemporis there. The referee maybe made a bad call. You tell me what you think. But there we are, 1-0. Can the Kindle come back? Well, yes, it can, because this is a Wacom pen, and the Kobo has a active capacitive stylus, which is, it's not so bad that you wouldn't want to do it, but once you've used a good Wacom, it just doesn't feel as quick, and it doesn't feel as accurate, and they've got hard nibs rather than like nice soft ones. Generally, it's just not as pleasing to write. If you're only writing occasional stuff, then you won't find that an issue at all. And if you aren't used to this, then you'll be fine on this. You'll probably pick up and say, what's all the fuss? This is absolutely fine. And it is absolutely fine, but you also need to charge it every now and then. And when it does need charging, it gets less accurate, which is a nuisance. And I charged it today to make sure that it was working well. And it lasts like a month if you charge it anyway. It's not the same. Just because it's a charged pen doesn't mean it's as accurate as like an Apple Pencil is, because there's no Bluetooth connection as well. So the Apple Pencil is super because it does Bluetooth connection, and the Bluetooth like digitally tells the device where the pen is in space and what its angle is and everything like this, as well as it detecting when it touches and detecting pressure and things like that as well. So this just is active capacitive and has a battery, doesn't make it as good as an Apple Pencil. So yeah, the Kindle Scribe is going to get a goal there for just going with the brand leader. The market leader in screen tech at the minute is Wacom, and they've just gone with them because they know if they don't, then they're going to be losing out in comparisons like this. And then there's the design. Now, I actually like the lighter Kobo compared to the Kindle. There's not much in it actually. It's only 40 grams. I looked it up today. There's only 40 grams in it, but it is lighter, and it is lighter feeling. And actually, because they've saved a bit of material on the case by not putting it back on, generally the whole package is generally lighter than most e-ink tablets are, which I think is really, really good. And yeah, wouldn't kick it out of bed, but generally I like that. I like that plastic never feels cold. I like the case. I like everything about this as a reader. They're kind of, I know you can change orientation of which side you're using it on, but this seems to be the right one because Kobo is the right way up. I like the way you hold it on this side. I know full well you can change it like that, but now it just feels like the whole device is upside down, look. And generally, I prefer the design on the Kobo, although this is fine. And I've talked about this quite a bit, but my Kindle has like a gap between the edge there, which I'm sure I could have got a whole new Kindle sent out to me, but it didn't seem to be enough of an issue, but other people's don't have that. So the premium design, it isn't that impressive. So for design, I'm actually just going to give it to the Kobo Elipsa 2E, and really because this feels better, okay, as an e-reader design, this feels better, it being an e-reader. So the Kindle, though, it's going to play that card again. It's going to play I have a 300 dot per inch screen, and this is the only place you can get that 300 dot per inch screen. So that is going to be a good comeback as well, because if you gave me the choice side by side, the two doesn't look massively different, but certainly it is better, and it is something that you do notice, and you do notice yourself enjoying. It is less pixelated on the 300 dot per inch. It is just a factor better. And if you want the best, well, certainly the Kindle can play that card, and that's what equals them up at 2-all. So how do you decide? I think it's about maybe what else you can actually do with it. And the Scribe still has a lot of work to do, but they have tried. And for me personally, it's the extra things you can actually do on the Scribe that would actually sway it. The Scribe drawing on the Kindle Scribe is really, really good. It's almost as good as drawing on the Remarkable or the Tab series. And then there's that integration they brought recently for the Microsoft Word, where you can actually send down a sort of flat Word file which you can scribble on. And, that is not everybody's workflow, but many people out there will need to review documents that come from Word, and actually receiving a document from Word that you can then go ahead and annotate and then send back to show somebody the changes they need to make. You can make full annotations on it as well. If that's part of your workflow, all you can do here is just receive the file as a sort of flat file. It comes through as a sort of flat Kindle PDF, and you can annotate it. And then you can send it back with your revision. So if you needed to review a letter or some meeting notes or something and send them back, you could do that. If you need to sign a form or something and send it back, you could send it to you from Word, and you could do it that way as well. It's not the Word integration that we were hoping for, but it's going to fit into certain workflows. And if it does fit into yours, well, it'll do what it's aiming to do. And lastly, is the way the handwriting recognition works. And I showed you that a little bit earlier on. The Kobo handwriting recognition is accurate. It is quite good, but it is infuriatingly slow, and it is the exact opposite of flow. Whereas handwriting recognition on the Kindle Scribe, if we go to a sensible pen for writing, how do I do this again? It's in the share button here, and then it says send to email. Do you want to send it to your email or not, or you just want to convert it to text? And it converts it straight to a notebook. Doesn't do it in the background like the A5X, but it's not playing against the A5X. That's what I wrote today. and you can see handwriting recognition is got it just fine there. So, you know, I think that's a better implementation myself than the whole Nebo thing where you got it sort of line by line, you can build it up line by line. I think in general, the way you'll use it, I do like that, but they could, if they would just make it such that it would actually recognize the previous line whilst you're writing the next one, it would be brilliant. You know, and it can do that. There is the computing power there. It's got a whole couple of cores that it's not even using in the processor, I'm sure. And if it doesn't, then beef up the computing power so it can do that. You know, maybe it's not the most important thing to everyone, but it does matter to me. And that is why Kindle Scribe is going to score that last minute winner. And this is the semi-final that we were after. And the Kindle is going to go through to the final. Glad to help. Yeah, I've been doing Sudokus on crosswords on Scribe and it's great. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think that's what they're going for. You know, they are trying to make it a different device. And obviously I'm going to talk about Scribe a little bit more. But I personally think they should lean it a bit more towards productivity. Maybe there's an option for the Scribe 2 to have a bit more productivity, you never know. Don't back off at all. I hope that was a useful comparison. You can see there are benefits to both. In reality, at this point, if you're invested in either of these two systems, stick with your system. But if you're just entering into it at the minute, I would go probably with the slightly better technology that's in the Kindle Scribe, even if the platform leaves a little bit to be desired with the notebook features. The result doesn't necessarily mean that one of these tablets is actually better than the other. And if you do want to know my final conclusions about how all the features of these two tablets stack up, then the best place to have a look is on the website ewritable.com, where Dan has used my testing data to let you make your own comparison chart between any Eink tablets which might interest you. And all of that data is based off my full 2 weeks of testing, and I haven't just pulled down the press release and filmed a video based on what that says, nor have I just opened the box and played about for a few hours and pressed record. If I've reviewed an Eink tablet, I've used it in my daily work life, in my professional job as a teacher for at least 2 weeks. And that way I really find out what it's like to live with and rely on it. And you really find out the benefits and the bugs that way. So here are my video reviews of the two tablets featured in today's match.